Deep in the barren valleys of Nevada lies perfection, a town with only 14 residents, zero traffic, and a massive, hidden problem. Meet Val and Earl, two local handymen who spend their days pumping septic tanks and wishing they were literally anywhere else. They are trapped in a dead-end cycle of low-paying chores, completely unaware that their boring little town is about to become a buffet. Nearby, a graduate student named Rhonda notices strange seismic readings on her equipment, deep, rhythmic vibrations coming from right under the dirt. The weirdness begins when Val and Earl find old Edgar up an electrical tower, dead from dehydration because he refused to climb down. What could possibly scare a man so badly that he would literally choose to starve to death rather than step foot back on the ground? Puzzled, the boys leave the scene to get help, realizing that a strange, invisible panic is slowly settling over the valley. Next, they head over to check on Fred the sheep farmer, only to find a scene straight out of a horror movie. His entire flock has been slaughtered, and Fred himself has been pulled completely underground, leaving only his head behind. Down the road, two road workers are jackhammering rock, making enough noise to wake up whatever is sleeping beneath the crust. Suddenly, the earth splits, screaming echoes fill the air, and both men vanish into the ground in a cloud of dust. Val and Earl try to drive out of the valley to warn the police, but a massive rockslide blocks their only exit. When they stop the truck, they find something wrapped around their rear axle, a slimy, foul-smelling creature that looks like a mutated snake. It's long, muscular, and completely eyeless, leaving the boys wondering what kind of nightmare they just ran over. Realizing the phones are dead and the road is blocked, they race back to the local market, completely cut off from the world. Store owner Walter Chong offers to buy the creature from them, instantly naming it a Graboid for a quick tourist profit. The locals gather around, trying to figure out if it's a mutant mutation, an alien, or a government experiment gone horribly wrong. With the roads completely blocked, Val and Earl mount up on horses to ride across the desert for help. But the noise of the galloping hooves acts like a massive dinner bell, sending a massive bulge in the dirt chasing right behind them. The ground explodes. The snake wasn't a separate animal, it was just one of many long tongues inside a giant, 30-foot prehistoric monster. Their horses are violently dragged under, leaving the two handymen running for their lives across the open desert. With the giant worm closing the distance, Val makes a desperate leap into a concrete drainage channel. The pursuing monster doesn't see the barrier and slams face first into the solid concrete wall at full speed. The impact cracks its thick outer shell, spraying thick, foul orange ooze all over the ditch as it dies on impact. Val and Earl stand over the massive beast, completely stunned by the sheer size of the underground killer. Rhonda arrives at the scene, confirming that these things are prehistoric, subterranean predators that hunt entirely by sound. But the celebration is cut short when her gear reveals that there aren't just one of these things out there. There are three more giant, hungry monsters roaming around the valley, and they are all heading directly toward them. The trio flees across the sand, knowing that a single heavy footstep will bring the killers bursting out from below. They manage to scramble onto a pile of solid rock boulders just as the dirt around them begins to churn. Trapped on the rocks, they realize the monsters are circling them like sharks in the water, waiting for them to step down. Rhonda's truck is parked just out of reach, and any attempt to walk over to it means instant death. Thinking fast, Earl uses a long pole to pole vault his way across the gap, landing safely on a different boulder. Val follows his lead, leaping directly onto the roof of the truck, which alerts the monsters immediately. The ground around the truck erupts as a Graboid slams into the chassis, trying to tear its way through the tires. They pull Rhonda up into the truck bed just as a massive tentacle tongue snatches at her ankles. Val guns the engine, driving over the rocks and racing back to town to warn the rest of the residents. Arriving back in perfection, they scream at everyone to get onto high ground, but the locals think they've gone crazy. Little Mindy is happily jumping around on her noisy pogo stick,
Get off the pogo stick!
Completely oblivious to the giant predator tracking her. Val spots her just in time, sprinting out to tackle her off the dirt right as a Graboid breaks the surface. The creature misses the girl but smashes through the wooden floorboards, sending wood splinters flying everywhere. Panic hits the town as everyone scrambles to get on top of buildings, trailers, and any elevated structures they can find. Inside his store, Walter Chong thinks he's safe behind the counter, but the ground beneath him starts to rise. A Graboid bursts straight through the wooden floor, its long tentacles grabbing onto everything in sight. Walter is grabbed by the ankles and dragged screaming down into the dark earth, leaving the store completely empty. Next, the monsters turn their attention to the home of Burt and Heather Gummer, two heavily armed survivalists. The Gummers have spent their entire lives preparing for World War III, but they never expected a war with giant worms. Suddenly, the brick wall of their basement shatters inward as a massive Graboid forces its way inside. Instead of running, Burt and Heather grab their massive shotguns and unleash an absolute storm of lead. They pump round after round into the beast, turning their basement into a loud, flashing war zone. When the shotguns don't stop it, Burt pulls out his ultimate weapon, a giant, twin-barrel elephant gun. He fires a massive point-blank shot right into the creature's skull, creating a deafening blast that shakes the house. The giant beast finally goes completely limp, leaking gallons of yellow blood all over their survival gear. Burt radios the rest of the town, proudly announcing, "We blew that sucker to kingdom come." But the noise of the massive gun battle draws the remaining two monsters right to the center of town. The monsters start undermining the foundations of the buildings, causing structures to tilt and sink into the sand. Val realizes that staying on the flimsy roofs is a death sentence. The worms are literally digging the town out from underneath them. He spots a massive tracking bulldozer parked nearby, the only vehicle heavy enough to survive the monster attacks. Making a run for it, Val leaps down into the driver's seat and cranks the massive diesel engine to life. He drives the massive machine from roof to roof, picking up the survivors like a rescue train. With everyone safely on board the flatbed trailer, they head straight for the safety of the Rocky Mountains. But the highly intelligent Graboids dig a massive trench right ahead of them, causing the bulldozer to crash and tilt. Stranded in the open, the survivors are forced to run onto a single rock boulder, completely surrounded by a sea of sand. Burt pulls out his secret weapon, homemade dynamite bombs made from his massive stash of gunpowder. Earl lights the long fuse and flings it across the dirt, hoping to blow one of the underground monsters to bits. The monster swallows the bomb whole, exploding from the inside out in a massive shower of dirt and slime. Only one monster remains, but it has learned its lesson and refuses to swallow the next lit bomb. In an incredible move of intelligence, the worm spits the live dynamite stick right back up onto the rock with them. Burt scrambles to toss it away just in time as the blast shatters the edge of their small rocky sanctuary. With only one bomb left, Val runs toward the edge of a steep cliffside, waiting the final monster to follow him. He stands right at the edge of the drop-off, waiting until the very last second as the ground rises behind him. At the final millisecond, Val dives away. The giant worm bursts from the ground, carrying too much speed to stop. It launches itself straight over the edge of the high cliff, sailing out into the empty canyon air. The final monster slams into the rocks below, bursting apart and ending the underground reign of terror once and for all. Perfection is finally safe. Val and Earl survive the ultimate monster nightmare, proving that all you need to beat a prehistoric beast is a little rock and a lot of gunpowder. Now it's your turn to drop into the comments. We want to know your ultimate Tremor story. Think back to the very first time you ever laid eyes on this creature feature classic. What year was it when you first watched these giant worms take over Nevada? More importantly, how old were you? Were you a kid hiding behind the couch? Or did you discover this masterpiece later on as an absolute fan of classic monster cinema? Let's talk about the incredible cast. Who was your absolute favorite actor or actress in the film? Are you Team Val and Earl, or does Burt Gummer win it all for you? Let us know who gave the most legendary performance in this entire survival pack. Now, what is the single most iconic scene that you still think about today? Was it the terrifying moment Walter Chong got pulled under the grocery store floorboards? Or the unforgettable basement shootout where the Gummers absolutely turned the tide? Maybe it was Val's brilliant final trick at the edge of the canyon cliff. Drop your year, your age, your favorite character, and your best scene below. Smash that like button, subscribe for more epic recaps, and keep your feet off the dirt. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the comments section right now.